back to our Elastic Live user group. This is a weekly session where sometimes we're talking about things Elastic related, sometimes we're talking about things tech related. In this case, it's going to be a lot of the latter. I'm super excited for the conversation we're going to have. With me, as you can see, the box is a little full this time. Normally, it's just one other person. I've got three wonderful guests with me. They come from Build for Black Lives. And I think, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't get the name of your company.
I love your menses.
Awesome. Oh, I love your mints. Okay, see, I've actually seen that website. I'm really happy that you're here. But before we jump into the questions that we have for Build, I have to let everybody know that this is a part of our larger Elastic community. If you want to get engaged there, then head over to community.elastic.co. We have events happening weekly. I almost say daily, but I think we take like Wednesdays off from every now and then. But we also recognize that this is often a place where people come when they have questions. Um, I hope you have questions for Build for Black Lives, but if you have some technical questions, we have a place for that as well. That's discuss.elastic.co. And of course, anything that we can't get to here, we're going to make sure you go over to buildforblacklives.com as well as on Twitter, Build for Black Lives. But let's jump into the conversation. And I guess if we can first start getting an introduction from everyone, just your name, what you do, where you are in your tech journey. I'm going to go clockwise from how I see it. So let's start with Shania.
Yeah, sure thing. My name is Shania. I am a rising senior at Simmons University. I'm a designer at the team and a co-lead as well. And in my tech journey or my um, career paths, I guess I could say I'm going into the product design and user experience field. But in Build for Black Lives, I am the co-lead that also helps with planning the project management and doing some social media design work as well.
Awesome. David?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm a rising third year at Northeastern University. I'm studying computer science. Right now, my tech journey, figuring out whether I like front end or back end, but yeah, developer, that's for me. And for Build for Black Lives, just project manager and co-lead.
Awesome. And I know I said tech journey, but Bria, if the tech journey isn't there, let's just do life journey. We'll go that way.
Awesome. My name is Bria Gaston. I'm originally from Boston. I currently live in Connecticut, and I'm the co-founder of Love Your Menses, which is a nonprofit that was started in Boston, and now we're global in 6 other countries where we provide menstrual education and resources for girls and young women and people who menstruate. As far as tech, we just launched a mobile app, which we'll probably talk more about. And so we're bridging the gap between menstrual health and technology. So excited to be here.
I can't wait to learn more about just that whole process that it took to get not only a nonprofit off the ground, but an app for a nonprofit, which is something I don't hear a lot about. So that'll be super interesting. Let's kick it off with David and Shania. Like, what is Build for Black Lives and how did it come to be?
No, Shania, you can go.
Yeah, I'll just talk a little bit about its origin story. So basically, Build for Black Lives was created by Hack Beanpot, which is the organizing group that we're a part of, me and David. We aim to build a diverse, inclusive, and learning-focused tech community. But how could we do that if last year in 2020 there was the rise of the George Floyd Build for Black Lives March? We have our own privilege and ability to work in the tech space to have, I guess, what we could say, like a more equitable tech future. So what we would wanted to focus was that if we have skills in tech design, why can't we just bridge this gap to create a platform that would help Black folks be able to have volunteers, have designers that would help with their business during this time.
Awesome. And as a part of like Hack Beanpot, how has that worked in terms of like helping provide the resources and the structure behind that? Is like was the idea like, hey, Hack Beanpot, we have this idea, or did Hack Beanpot I'm gonna mess that up a lot, have the idea and like reach out to you guys and say, hey, let's do this?
I think it's because a lot of our individual members they have values and goals aligned with equitable tech. A lot of them are also interested in actually doing something that would help benefit the Black community, not only in Boston, but throughout the nation as well. And so we wanted to use our position and our skills in as a hackathon group to not only be able to use our tech skills to create this platform, but also be able to really iterate and learn how we want to develop like the tech community in our own community, in our own area in Boston, and to see like what type of work that we also want to continue working on, right? Like we're not always just focused on working on something that we don't want to look at after like a couple months. We wanted it to really have a long-lasting impact.
Yeah, I just want to step in and also say, like, there are probably the three main factors is that we're really acquainted with like building projects because we're organizing a hackathon. Second would be we're based in Boston, and that would be Boston's always like hailed as like up and coming tech city, but no one really talks about and it's like a city on the hill, liberal city on a hill, but there's a lot of inequality, and especially we've seen that in our hackathons just from participants. We want to push for like a diverse and equitable tech community, but we had the means, we have the drive, and we were in a position to. So all the puzzle pieces just really came together.
I like that. Bria, you are obviously super busy when it comes to like, hey, I've got a nonprofit I'm going with, and having worked in nonprofit spaces before, I know that the big question there is often when you're getting started, like funding, like how do we're 501c3 pending, we're getting things off the ground. How was it working with Build for Black Lives, knowing that at least this one part of what is normally a very expensive question of like, how are we going to get our tech presence online? How are we going to get that infrastructure? Not only how are we going to set those things up, but how are we going to pay for the maintenance of that structure? How has it been working with Build for kind of alleviating some of that stress?
Yes, it's been amazing. And you said it perfectly. As a nonprofit, we rely on individual contributions, grant funding, and fee for service, as well as crowdfunding and fundraising. And so when I came across Build for Black Lives, I was so excited because we've been wanting to create a STEM program for girls of color and integrate menstrual health, but we had the menstrual health side of things, but we didn't have any support in regards to tech. And my co-founder and I do not have a background in tech. We're not software engineers. We don't know how to build a mobile app. And so this site allowed us to create and submit a project, which we received, inquiries from people who wanted to volunteer their time and help support us. And so by having some of that sweat equity was amazing because we are limited on funding and resources, and creating any technological product is expensive. And so this was super helpful for us.
I can only imagine, like you said, having two people be in the room being like, well, we got to do this website thing. We want to do this app. We want to do all these initiatives, but we don't have the know-how. How was it working with the individuals that reached out to inquire and to volunteer?
Yeah. So volunteers reached out to us via email, and we would let them know the project and what we're looking for. And so we welcome anyone to volunteer with us because there's so much work that needs to be done, and there's so much help that we need. But the communication process was very simple. Communicated via email and signed a volunteer agreement form just so all parties were aware of what services they would be performing pro bono. And we got right to work. And luckily, you know, we were able to communicate via Zoom and using Google Docs and Google Drive to store all the information we needed for the project. So yeah, that was great.
I love that. David or Shania, I remember when we were planning to have this conversation, I was like super intrigued about the back end and like all of this stuff and like, hey, how do you manage the relationship between the volunteers and the people that are seeking help? And I learned that a lot of it is hands off. A lot of it is very much like we're providing the space. You sign up, you say, I want to help with this person, email addresses are exchanged, and at that point, you're kind of away from it. Was that by design, or was that just out of kind of the idea of like, let's get off the ground fast and get going? So I remember you said this was based on a hackathon build.
I would say yes for getting off the ground quickly. It's also because this is our second year running. We do have a lot of plans for the future to expand and have a more dedicated, like hands-on team. But that's in the future. Currently, yeah, the process would just be we really want to emphasize the the pro bono developer and designers really connecting with the project and being passionate enough to just reach out and yeah, just reach out to the project owners, get to know the project owners, and have that person-to-person connection instead of emailing us, through our like a form or email, and then we'd relay it. That connection we really appreciate.
I often wonder, one of the questions that I get, having been in tech for over a decade now, which makes me feel bad to say. But you always get that question of like, how do I start? How do I get that beginner's experience that, hey, we're looking for a junior developer with 6 years of experience. Like, no, that's not a thing. It doesn't exist. Do you think that doing pro bono projects and even building projects like Build for Black Lives is a good way to boost that portfolio, or even to say like, hey, I may not know how to do all of the pieces, but I can do this one part and that can help me? Like Shania, I know you mentioned you do like UX design. If someone said, hey, I need my entire database, I need my backend set up and everything else, you'd be like, that's just not me. But there are still good opportunities based on what you need, right? Or what you're able to provide.
I would say totally, Jay. Just from my personal experience from working on a project, and I talked to a couple developers who worked for a Build for Black Lives project. And yeah, as you said, you can pick up a smaller piece and then learn to work with other people, look at other people's code, building off of other people's projects and multiple teams. If you're not too great at UX, communicating with that and just getting outside of your comfort zone. That is probably the biggest things compared to like a personal project you take on yourself. And I think just like the impact you feel working on like helping Bria, helping Love Your Menses, or helping any Black organization or business, it's like, wow, making a huge impact. And that would, for me personally, push myself and make sure like, oh, I shouldn't cut a corner here. Just delivering top-notch code and yeah, just really fun too.
I also want to add that the fact that we are not like very hands-on with any of the project management or the teams involved and the project owners involved, besides getting the project request like approved, this platform is not centered around us. This is centered around the businesses, the Black businesses, the organizers, and the activists. So in order for that to really happen, we thought that the initiative has to be sparked and maintained between volunteers and all the project owners in order for their needs to be met, rather than feeling like they have to adhere to our guidelines, other than being anti-racist, other than knowing your capabilities, your time, resources, Other than that, it's not something that we're able to call the shots on. Yeah.
So really quick, David, if you don't mind, I'm gonna drive. I have Build for Black Lives up on my screen here, and I just want you to walk me through this process. If I wanted to, and sadly I don't have much mobile development knowledge, so I can't really contribute to Love Your Menses. But let's say I did, how would I go about doing this? Let me set up my screen really quick, and we'll just run through this because I feel like it's easier than I've seen in other processes. So let's see here. There we go. So we can see this. I have Build for Black Lives up. So David, I want you to just drive and show me how easy this is.
Yeah, of course. So you would just click on work on a project. So that goes
Okay.
for designers, programmers, and we talked to a couple project owners, and there's room to open it to like social media and like marketers. But right now we're doing designer and developing projects. So here are the list of open projects, and these all have tags of like what they need, what they're looking for, and a tag of urgency potentially. So Jay, whatever strikes your eye, you can pick a project.
I'm just. Oh, I see one that I like. Help Love Your Menses and add some features. Let's go with that one.
Yeah. So there's some basic info. There's project deadlines, a little about, usually a little page, so you can learn more. And keep in mind that a lot of these projects need that page, like their own website to be built. So they might have like an Instagram page, but usually like that. And yeah, after you're done,
In this case, we already have a great website. We've got education. I mean, oh, I don't know why you need my help. It looks like you're already good to go.
yeah, and yeah, just peruse, see if you're comfortable with taking this project and connect with its message, and you click on work on this project.
Yep, and then from there, I love this. You have a commitment. I mean, I think that's something that is often overlooked. Is obviously there's a relationship and a level of trust in both Build, the volunteers, and on top of that, also the stakeholders, the people that are asking you to come in and help them. Um, so having that, like, hey, we want to make sure that the people that we're working with are good faith actors, they're not going to come in and cause any issues for these. Again, you have people that are just starting nonprofits, just starting businesses. They need help. They don't need any type of harassment. And then from there, project details. Again, it's good that you keep that in. And Bria, I love that you mentioned in that process there being a statement of volunteer work, to keep everybody on the rails. Working with me, I know our awesome help in moderating Faith knows like the hardest part working with me is keeping me on the rails. So having that statement there that says like, hey, this is what we're working on, let's focus on that. I think that's super awesome and helpful for both parties. But it's that easy, huh? You go to the site, find a project, reach out, and from there you're good to go.
Yeah, just once you fill out that commitment to anti-racism, usually the project will have a contact information, and it's usually email. And from there, you just take it off onto Zoom, Docs, whatever strikes your fancy. But yeah, and all project details should come from the project owner. But that's Build for Black Lives. If you're interested, yeah, just hop onto the website, find a project you like, and contact them.
That's awesome. I agree with everything on this page. I don't want to hit confirm because I don't want to throw email addresses all out in the open. But this is really cool and really awesome. So I guess the last question that I would have for everyone is kind of what's next. Bria, as someone who's used Build and it has currently a request for Build, um, is this kind of the plan? Is this the plan for the future? Just find and source people. Are you working with the same volunteers over and over again, or have you started building those relationships in the tech space?
Yeah. So I hope Build for Black Lives continues to stay around and doesn't go anywhere because there's so many other nonprofits like Love Your Menses that need support, and mutual aid groups as well. So your non-traditional nonprofits, people who are organizing and doing community work definitely need support. And what's next for us is we have this mobile app, but we don't have the tech experience, and we're looking for people who want to volunteer their time, build their portfolios, and give back to our organization and help us, build out our mobile app because Facebook started somewhere and Instagram started somewhere. So here we are, but we definitely want to improve and enhance our features, add additional features. And we also want to give people who, may have went through a tech education program or like an accelerator program and need experience building their portfolios. We hope that they'll work with us because they'll gain that experience, to add to their portfolios as they're applying for full-time jobs in the tech field. And so we hope that we won't be used as guinea pigs, but we'll be used as partners, where they can gain some experience and we can, write them a letter of support or recommendation as they're applying for jobs.
I think that agreement of like volunteer terms helps keep people from being test subjects on that. David, what's up? What's in the future for Build? What's going on next?
Oh man, so excited to tell you, Jay. So for Build, we recently talked to a bunch of project owners to get their feedback, and now we're looking on the horizon of how else can we help Black orgs and businesses. And some business owners were like, "Hey, maybe like a workshop for business." And some of our members was like, "What if we did a workshop for like Black students and Latinx students, just building a more like equitable and diverse tech space for the future, more representation there." And so we're looking, and to hit both of those marks, we're looking to do outreach to existing like boot camps. Some ways we can help them, and their students can take up some projects on Build for Black Lives and get that experience here. And I think that's a bit of a win-win situation. But I guess to summarize, workshops for business owners and workshops for new Black students. Just, yeah, building towards that diverse and equitable tech workspace.
Let me know when those happen. If they're virtual, I can make it. I mean, San Diego is not that close to Boston, but maybe I can hop on a plane. We'll see. It depends on when it is. And then Shania, probably my favorite question as a UX developer and someone who's used the site, has helped run the site, has helped so many people. What's next for you in your journey of UX design and development and that space?
Yeah, well, not to toot my own horn, but I've spent a lot of years and time, effort working to build the skills that I have now. And the fact that I'm able to choose what I want to create and be able to research how usable the tech I develop, I think continuing to do work along the lines of tech equity, inclusive tech for Black, or not even just Black communities, but also BIPOC communities, as an Igorot, which is an indigenous Filipino group or ethnicity in the Philippines, as a migrant living here, first generation. There's a lot of there's a gap in the tech that we see, we use, and that we're able to really call our own, to be honest. And so that's what I'm trying to work on as a UX designer, to just mitigate that gap and bring it closer to the people and not just a set few.
I love that. That's dope. And as always, I want to offer my own if you need help or to have a conversation, let me know. I do more talking than I do writing code these days, but I still try to. I'm a Python person, so I still like to, get into a terminal every now and then. But everybody, thank you so much. I want to just mention that this is a part of a larger initiative that Elastic and the Elastic community is undertaking, to where we understand, as a company that does search, we want to search for solutions not just in technology. We want to search for solutions of larger problems and systemic issues that we all have to live with as, a super diverse company, a globally spread company. As someone who has been on kind of the forefronts of what Elastic is doing in the diversity space external to the company, I've gotten to experience different cultures that I never would have imagined, and just learn from people who are doing amazing things. And it's because of projects like Build, it's because of projects like Love Your Menses that we get to have these opportunities. And since I'm talking to a lot of folks in the present and future that know a lot about doing search and implementing search, I'm sure you can help some of these stakeholders, these Black business owners, these Black nonprofit starters, come up with a search solution that they might need. So if you're interested in doing that, please head over to Build for Black Lives. You can also head over to at Build for Black Lives on Twitter. If you want to talk about it, if there's a cool project there, let us know. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. We're more than happy to share the love and reach out to the folks here. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this shorter stream. But I want to thank everybody that joined me. Bria, thank you so much. Tell everybody one more time about Love Your Menses and how people can get involved there.
Sure. Thank you so much, Jay and Shania and David, for creating this space and all the work that you're doing around tech equity. So you can visit our website, loveyourmenses.com, which is on the screen. If you want to get involved in the work that we do, we'll be launching our Flow Tech for Girls program. Our next cohort will start in January, and we're looking for volunteers who want to help lead tech workshops, as well as help support our Flow mobile app. This program allows girls of color ages 10 to 14 to gain menstrual health knowledge and tech experience, and get hands-on coding experience as they create and update the mobile app. And so we're looking for people to help mentor and volunteer with our program.
Awesome. Shania, where can people find you?
I guess you can find me on LinkedIn. Just look up Shania Ambrose on LinkedIn and you'll find me.
Yep. And then David, what about you?
Yeah, same as Shania. Just check out Build for Black Lives. I think probably the biggest pain point for our for all the business owners we talked to so far is just that some projects weren't able to get out the door because we didn't have enough developers. So that's Elastic community. That would be really wonderful, and it would mean a lot to us, and especially to the organizations and businesses. If you guys can help out, that'd be awesome. Oh yeah, and LinkedIn. Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us. If you have thoughts, again, leave them in the chat. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Give this a thumbs up. I normally don't want to do all the YouTube promotion, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell stuff, but I really want the algorithm to find this video and just force everybody to watch it. I just want it on everybody's timeline when they jump into YouTube to watch whatever they're watching. So do your best to make that happen. But that's going to be it for this week in the Elastic Live user group. Next week, we're going to be talking Elon with Seth Larson. You often see him in the chat, often giving me a hard time because that's also my language that I like to mess around with. But until then, take care, everybody.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Elastic.
Thank you.